Hey guys, what is up, and welcome back to a brand new video here on Accurate and Powerful Lego Guns. Today we'll be taking a look at this magazine fed with removable magazines repeating Lego brick shooter. Enjoy. And here is the Lego gun in question, and before we do get on with any of the testing, allow me to give you a brief overview of this Lego gun as well as showing you how to load. So this is a simple bolt action Lego pistol with a few extra features as well, as such as an optional stock feature, which is this piece here, an optional optic. Loading it, very simple. So what you've got here is you've got a magazine like this, or you can even have a longer magazine that looks like this. Loading the gun is very simple. All you need to do is take the magazine and then take a round. Truth be told, you can fit any round that would fit into a 2 stud wide space, which is what the magazine can take. So, for example, you put 2 of these pieces in and say, as our third round, you wanted to put this piece in, you absolutely can, just like so. To load, all you need to do is pull back on the bolt, insert the magazine into the gun, and you see this bit here. This is the magazine release and lock. So lock the magazine in place. As soon as you do that, you're ready to fire. Now that I've given you a brief overview of this Lego weapon, it is now time to do the range test. Now here we are with the range test, and what we're going to do is we're first going to load this magazine filled with cylindrical rounds, and then we're going to load in this magazine with the more box rounds, and then what we're going to do afterwards is we're going to see how far each of these rounds have been able to shoot. So here we are with our first magazine, and here we are with test number 1. Here we are with test number 2. And our third and final test from this magazine. Okay, so that was this magazine. What we're going to do now is we're going to remove this mag, allow this one in. So, here we are with test number 4. Test number 5, and our 6th and final test. So that was the range test, guys, and what we're going to do now is we're going to see how far this gun has been able to shoot. Now it's time to analyse the results of the range test of this Lego gun. First off, we're going to be starting off with the cylindrical rounds. Starting off with this one, which clocked in at around 3 meters, which is the worst performing of our cylindrical rounds. The other 2 of the cylindrical rounds are, dare I say, a lot more consistent. For example, we have this one, which clocked in at 5 meters 4. And the final one, we're talking this orange round, came in at a really nice 5 meters 95, almost 6 meters, not quite. Now we're going to look at the box rounds, starting off with the worst, which came in at a measly 2.5 meters, which is not very good compared to some of my other guns. However, we've had a few of these boxy ones that have performed slightly better. For example, we've had this Lego round which clocked in at an unimpressive 3 meters 20. But, most surprisingly, remember the 5 meters 95 that the orange projectile hit? Well, what if I said that was the joint furthest, sharing it with this Lego round here, which clocked in at the exact same distance. Now, analysing the results of the range tests, it is clear to see that even though the rounds are a little bit rickety and they're not that consistent, the cylindrical rounds are ever so slightly better than the boxy rounds, because the cylindrical rounds are more consistent in their performance, shorter range difference, and they're more likely to shoot further up the range, which means they're more likely to shoot further and have more power in them. The boxy ones have got a lot more of a range difference, and most of them are a lot weaker, meaning they're the poorer choice for you to use. All in all, I've got to say that the gun isn't really that consistent, and the range really does vary a lot from the very short to the very powerful. If you do hit it lucky though, the power of this gun is really great. This Lego gun may have power backing it, but it certainly doesn't do any favours in terms of consistency. I haven't received the same consistency with this gun as I've enjoyed with my other Lego builds. However, can it be consistent inside the accuracy test? It will be time to find that out shortly, but before we do that, allow me to quickly talk you through the details of this Lego pistol. This is a simple Lego bolt-action pistol that is front-loading with removable magazines, like these. First, we are going to talk about the mechanism of the Lego gun in great detail. In order to do this, we remove these side panels from the Lego gun, as well as these pins in addition. First, let us talk about the bolt of the Lego gun. The bolt is this simple 15 stud wide Lego Technic piece with this axle stored at the very end of it. It is slotted into the Lego gun like so when I push it in between the wall of Technic pieces here, and as you can quite clearly see, this Lego Technic piece here, the bolt, is forced to stay in position until I pull the trigger, like so. As you can see, this is the magwell of the Lego gun. I'm going to have a look at this bit next. The magwell is a very simple design with a bit to hold the magazine in and its magazine release. The thing about the bolt is first you would pull the bolt out like this, like so. Then you would take the magazine and load it in. You see, this bit here will go down on this side. You would then load in the magazine release. As you can see, this is the bird's eye view of the Lego gun if there is nothing obstructing the magazine. As you can see, there's a little L piece on the magazine that keeps the round held in so that it's aligned with the barrel of the Lego gun, which makes shooting a heck of a lot easier and makes it so that you can unload the magazines. Now, as you can see, it's in the same line of fire as the bolt. It's a simple bolt which is held back by the trigger. When I pull the trigger, the bolt will move forward, and then, as you can see this red piece, it will push out the round, out of the gun, and you can see the round right here, and then when I pull the bolt back, a new round is chambered. If you can have a look there, you can see the round clearly chambered in the Lego gun, and yet again you push the round through and it can now come out like so. And then the bolt does this kind of weird thing that I kind of like actually, where the bolt will kind of lock back a little bit to kind of signify that you can't load any more rounds, or fire any more rounds, because the magazine is empty. At that point, you can then activate the magazine release, which is just this simple Lego Technic L with the added Lego Technic pin. It's a very simple piece here. Turn this bit round and remove the mag like so. Now I have completely decimated the gun so that I can show you kind of what makes the main components of the gun. That's the top and bottom of the barrel. As you can see, the inner bottom of the barrel is a very nice simple bit here, and it gives you this opening that allows you to have this Lego Technic piece here, the bolt, and you may notice this simple trigger piece that's done by this simple L-shaped trigger mechanism that you would have definitely seen on other Lego builds. And one really cool feature about this is it will keep the bolt in place until I pull the trigger, and then it would strike the round at the magazine and allow the round to fire, as you have seen before. Another quirk of this Lego gun is the fact that the trigger tension is released using this spring here. As a matter of fact, there's no real rubber band tension being provided to the gun except for with the bolt, as the magazine release here doesn't use anything to reset it, and this trigger uses the spring. I think this is pretty good because rubber bands tend to break quite more easily than springs. Now, this is what the top of the barrel looks like, and it's the kind of thing that helps keep the gun held together. As a matter of fact, a lot of them had to use quite quirky building techniques in order to make things happen. As you may have noticed here, there's nothing particularly impressive about the barrel or top receiver, but you may notice all these little pieces here that, you know, you wouldn't have been able to suspect just looking at the gun from the outside. But as a matter of fact, it's been quite challenging for me to use all my Technic pieces to make a 100% Technic gun. I've had to use different building techniques to help make it happen. Now that you've seen me explain the inner workings, what you're going to see me do is try and put the gun back together. As you may have noticed, the Lego gun has got these pieces here, and it's stopped being a time lapse because I want to explain what these are. These little pieces, though inserted onto the gun very simply, like this, are all reinforcements. The job of these reinforcements is to keep the Lego gun in place so that the side panels can't move away. There's a similar arrangement being done here, like that. Just like so. The very final part of rebuilding the gun is obviously to put back the thing that allows the gun to shoot in the first place. So the bolt, it's slotted in like that. I would recommend pulling the trigger, and then you see these blue rubber bands. What you would do is put the first one on like that until you've got it all nice and snug onto the Lego gun. And you would actually do the exact same similar thing to the other side of the Lego gun. Just like so. Next thing we're going to be talking about are these LEGO Technic magazines. As you can see, there is an 8-round magazine like this, which is probably the largest one you can make feasibly out of LEGO Technic pieces, and the smallest possible one you can definitely make is this 3-round magazine here. As you can see, both magazines use similar techniques using LEGO Technic bricks like this to allow you to make the magazine in the shape that it is. In addition, there's always a gap in the magazine of where you can put the magazine release in. There are 2 different elements of the magazine. The actual bit that holds the rounds in itself and a little pusher that brings the rounds up to the top. Configuring this magazine so that you can load it properly is relatively easy to do. So what you do is you take this pusher, slot it in like so, and then you see this rubber band. It's a simple LEGO Technic rubber band that you would just wrap up the top like so. If you need to, you can wrap around numerous times until you've got a magazine that allows this bit to push up. Like so. Loading the magazine is relatively easy to do. We're going to show you the 3-round magazine for purposes of time and to keep things short and sweet. Loading it is very simple, so you see. So the first thing you do, push this bit down and insert your round into the gun like that. Of course, the round will stay slotted in there until it is fired out of the gun. You then repeat the process until 1 or 2 things. Either you've loaded the amount of rounds you have or want to load into the gun, or the magazine is completely and utterly full. For example, when I push this thing down, I can't feasibly fit another round into this magazine, thus this magazine is full. Using these magazines is relatively simple. First off, your gun needs to be cocked like this, and then you insert your magazine like that. Take the mag release thing and rotate it until the magazine remains in place, and then you're ready to fire. Like so. The last bit of detail around this LEGO gun are the attachments. As you can see, we've got a stock here, and we've got a little rail here where we can fit our own optics. Now, the optic itself is the standard optic that I've used for many times with a little red dot at the end. Nothing new to see there. However, the gun stock is styled exactly like a wire stock, made completely out of these LEGO Technic rods, with a bit here for you to be able to put your shoulder and 2 bit connector pieces here to connect to the gun. Connecting to the main LEGO gun is very simple, and this is what the main LEGO gun looks like without the stock. Attaching is very simple. You notice the bottom of the pistol grip, you put these Technic pieces in there like so, and then to attach this bit of the stock up the top, you may notice this red piece here, slot in this grey piece here like so, and the stock is now attached to the LEGO pistol. Now, my personal justification for the stock is because on its own the gun looks pretty incomplete and a little weird since it's a front-loading pistol. However, when I put the stock on, and it's a really simple process as to do it, it looks more like a PDW than just a weird altruistic pistol. In addition, it actually does help stabilise the gun and thus help with aiming. Of course, there are many cool features with this LEGO gun. It's the first LEGO gun I've made with box magazines, and it has got a lot of power to it, and it is quite an interesting looking build. However, the range was a bit wobbly and a bit non-consistent, and we don't know if this gun is accurate or not. If the gun's not bloody accurate, what's the point in having it? So here we are with the accuracy test. Let's go. Can this gun hit those sweet targets? It is now time to find out with the accuracy test. So as per usual, we've got the gun and I've preloaded this 3-round magazine. And let us kick us off with test number 1. Pass. Here we are with test number 2. Pass. And our third and final test, pass. All 3 pass. Even though this Lego gun hit every single target in the accuracy test, this Lego weapon does have some glaring inconsistencies that I've seen throughout the time that I've spent filming this. Especially in the shooting montage, but even during the range test, I've noticed that this gun's performance is not 100% consistent, and it does vary with each round. So it would be very, very, very interesting to see if this gun can pass the precision test. However, before we get on to that, allow me to talk you through my own personal opinion. I really do like this build. It's one of my first builds that has kind of like this altruistic, cartoony design. Someone praised me on this on Instagram, and I feel that some of my other guns are going to follow this sort of style. This is my 3rd attempt, I think, designing a Technic-only Lego build, and I'm really happy with it right now. And it works quite well. It's got some really cool extra features. The stock and the sights are really nice extra touches, and they really do help to complete the Lego gun. And yeah, there's a lot of features that I really do like with it, and I'll like even further in the future, I'll still use some of the things we've done. The grip styling on this is much better than what I've seen on many Lego Technic guns. You've got this little bit here, which helps make it a lot more comfortable than I thought it was going to be. And this stock really does help to stabilize it, making it a lot easier for you to hit the gun and make sure it stays on target. The sight is not really very useful on this sort of Lego gun. It is more of a decorative piece, but you can get a use out of it. Another really good thing is how it kind of uses similar technologies to a real steel firearm. Not exactly like it, of course, and the bolt system is way different, but the kind of design in situations that are very similar to it, with a magazine release magwell and a magazine like this. And it really makes it nice and easy and much more simpler to pick up. Because, for example, if you're to load a round into the gun like this, the only discrepancy being you have to pull the bolt all the way back, because it would be an open bolt type of thing, which really you only really get on semi-automatics. You don't get on bolt action type Lego weapons or real weapons. You only get open bolt with SMGs and stuff, so that is one discrepancy. But you'll be able to cock the gun and fire it quite well, and it won't feel too out in the ordinary. Deloading the magazine would also feel quite familiar for those that haven't used Lego guns like this but have picked up a real gun before. Another really cool thing about it is it is quite versatile, and it is very lightweight as well. Another really good thing about it is trigger uses a spring. And actually, apart from the bolt, there's no actual springs working on the mag release or the trigger. This is really good, because that means you've got less chance of exhausting the rubber bands, and this spring lasts a long time, and it is a heck of a lot tidier than using a rubber band. Another really good thing is the sturdiness of the gun. I could drop this and throw this down as much as I'd like, and the gun would still remain in shape, especially with the little reinforcements in there. It's sturdy as fuck, and that's a good thing. And really great is it has got a lot of power behind it. And if you know what you're doing, you can get accurate shots. But now that we talked about some of the good stuff, it's now time to go over some of the bad things, starting off with its inconsistency. The performance is not always 100% consistent, and sometimes you will not get the same result despite doing the same calculation yourself, aka you pull the bolt, you've loaded the magazine release, and you pull the trigger. You don't always get the same result with each round, and that can be a problem. You don't always know where it's going to end up. However, you can kind of guess where it's going to end up. The inconsistencies are there, but they're kind of controlled. Another really bad thing is how there's no actual initial sight. If you want a sight on this, you have to put your own on. And to be fair, you don't really need a sight on this thing, but some people would prefer one. Another really bad thing is, you know how I talked about how because of the spring and this, the rubber bands take less time to ache out? Not when it comes to the bolt. The bolt are the only things that use rubber bands to, you know, give it tension. And these rubber bands seem to expire quite a lot. Don't know if it's the rubber bands or the way the gun is designed. If you notice how the way the gun's designed, there's already tension on the rubber bands before you've pulled the bolt all the way back. And this does prevent a few issues. Another really bad thing is more towards the stock. Now the stock, really good, but it pulls away like this and it can be an absolute pain. Final issue is in terms of the magazine release. The magazine release doesn't work 100%. It's not a real magazine release that most guns use. It's kind of like a manual magazine release. So you pull the bolt and you put the magazine release in, and sometimes it can be very fiddly to get it out. Of course, now I'm talking about it, the magazine release is going to work and behave 100% as I planned. But trust me, I've had issues with the magazine release and operating this magazine release because it's not like a conventional magazine release. Another bad thing is, in order to load a magazine, you have to cock the gun. It's a small inconvenience, but I can kind of get over that. The only thing that really annoys me with this gun is the inconsistencies. The rest of it are just little nitpicks. All in all, this is a really good gun that I've managed to build, and, you know, I'd like to build another system like this. Again, it's got nice modular features, and some features that I will take and put onto the other things. The magazines are quite good. However, I may have said all these good things about the gun and a couple of bad things, but is this gun precise? It is now time to find this out with the precision test. We've got this Lego gun, we've got this 3-round magazine, and we've got this fixed target and fixed starting position. How precise is this gun? It is now time to find out. Here we are with test number 1 with this gun in fixed position. Pass. Same position, same test, test number 2. Pass. And here we are with our third and final test. Fail. 2 out of 3 pass. Although this Lego gun may have failed one of the precision tests, it is clear to see that this Lego gun does offer the full package. It's got good power, accuracy and consistency, but only when it wants to give it to you. If it's feeling a little off or you've loaded the wrong kind of round, it doesn't work too well. But that's all for today's video. If you like the video, give it a like, and if you want to see more, click subscribe. And of course, you know how I said this gun looked a lot more cartoony? Well, next time we'll be throwing it all out of the window when we show you this blackout Lego semi-automatic pistol with its own fake removable magazine and a very dark appearance. This is a little bit more of a risque build, but it does look pretty good. Thank you guys for watching, and of course, keep on building.